The school day begins before dawn with a donut on a plate for breakfast and a crisp copy of the New York Times in the car with Dad.
I like the international section because it usually gives me an outlook on how the world is.
He's only 13, but Raymond Zhang likes to be informed about everything.
Well, are international banks going down? That would be bad.
Where are we going right now?
We're going to Mary Gates Hall. My class is in there. I'm going to be taking HANS Honors Arts and Sciences 253B. The subject is Northwest Coastal Stories.
This is no middle school, and there won't be an afternoon game of dodgeball. Raymond is a freshman at the University of Washington.
And what's your favorite class right now?
Right now, I'd have to say my favorite class would be Math 307B, Introduction to Differential Equations. I find that I like math and science quite a bit.
Between classes, this 13-year-old unwinds by writing complex computer programs.
It's a curve designed by control points. If we have a second-order Bezier curve, we have 2 points that are moving along lines towards other points, and 1 point that's moving along the line defined by those points. So it's sort of like the curve that we get when on Photoshop we draw line tools.
I'm nodding as if I know what you're telling me, but I don't actually. How would you tell a third grader what you're doing? I'm the third grader.
Essentially drawing a curve that...
It was the only question to stump him all day.
I tell a third grader this.
Do you miss going to school with kids your own age, or were you bored at that level?
Well, academically, I felt extremely bored. I felt like that. I felt like that no matter what I did, I couldn't really interest myself too much into class.
He may seem like a little guy on a big campus, but when you get to know Raymond, you quickly learn appearances don't mean a thing. He wheels his backpack along on this campus of 30,000 with the confidence that comes with a 4.0 grade point, and to the tune of classical music. His brilliance isn't limited to a computer keyboard. He was performing black tie recitals while his kindergarten classmates were playing hide and seek.
From my experience is, I always wonder what I should do.
His mother Mary had her hands full keeping up with him from a very young age.
When he was very young, and he is so curious, and he always asks why. As a mother, and I constantly try to provide the right answer. Sometimes I don't know either. I buy the books, we read together, and soon enough he feels that I'm reading too slow.
Soon, just skipping grades wasn't enough. The family searched far and wide for a program that fit Raymond until they discovered this simple classroom. What's called the Transition School.
And 12 50 seconds, and you add them together and you get 16 50 seconds.
It is a tiny one-room schoolhouse on the University of Washington campus where each year 16 exceptional students are handpicked for a very unique program.
We're proposing to do something quite dramatic to these students and with these students, which is to take them out of the conventional school path completely. They will not have a high school diploma when they come here, and our program doesn't get them one. So we're very, very interested, and I think actually quite detailed in our examination of the students to make sure that they can succeed.
They are mostly 13-year-olds immersed in a grueling program aimed at making a gentle transition. If they make it through the 1 year, essentially pass-fail class, they will come back as full-time university freshmen.
So how do you guys feel about being on a university campus?
If you don't tell them that you're 14, they don't notice you're 14. Yeah.
We sat down with a group of transition school students during a short break between classes and were amazed at how down-to-earth they were.
Here's a question for you. Ready? Are you all geniuses?
No.
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 You're not?
No.
Come on, you're 13 and 14 and you're at a university.
Well, first of all, I think we all sort of like to avoid any sort of genius or prodigy labeling, because first of all, what's the point in that? Okay, maybe people here are, a bit smarter than, the average person, but that doesn't really matter.
There are so many more people than us who are as smart as us or smarter. We're just the ones who are that smart and have a desire to learn and work hard.
They're not all math or science oriented. Several excel in the humanities. At least one is interested in writing.
Stories represented in certain published articles and oral presentations.
But they all shared the same feeling that 7th grade life was, to be honest, a bit too childish.
It occurs to me that you guys are a bunch of middle school dropouts.
Yeah.
So the other kids you used to go to school with, really, you couldn't identify with each other.
Yeah. Like for me, I was actually stifled in the social aspect in my school. That really bothered me.
It's really ridiculous because, like, you're 7th graders and
Yeah.
it's just, oh, MMG, I broke up with my boyfriend. I'm going to be totaled forever. I'm never going to get married or have children.
There's no dorm life for these kids. They must live at home. Some have traded the school bus for a city bus. Raymond's parents made the enormous commitment of relocating across the country from New Jersey just so their son could attend. Today, Raymond is a transition school graduate and full-time university freshman.
The moon orbits around the Earth, and so the moon pulls some of the water towards it. But the Earth is also spinning around the center of gravity.
During one class, we were surprised to learn that many of his classmates don't actually know how young he is.
What's it like having a partner here in class who's 13?
I didn't realize he was 13.
You intimidated at all?
Well, it's intimidating now. Now that you've told me that.
That he's 13?
Yeah.
He returns to the schoolhouse to hang out between classes because he feels more comfortable here among the Rubik's Cubes and teddy bears. It's a critical part of the program to help the very young fit into what might otherwise be an overwhelming and intimidating educational leap.
Because the catalyst is not a net part of the reaction.
Raymond says university life is no big deal.
Do you put a lot of pressure on yourself? Do you feel a lot of pressure here?
Well, I definitely want to succeed, but I try not to put too much pressure on myself.
And the kids who are just making the transition say they can't imagine going back.
You thought about things that you will miss, you know, no high school prom, certain rites of passage.
Yeah, all you have to do is, like, all my friends promised me that when they go to the high school prom, they'll take me with them.
It's not like, you suddenly lose all the, you certainly get a lot of new friends here, but it's not like you lose all the old ones.
From 7th graders to university standouts, Raymond may be just a few credits shy of a college sophomore, but he still waits for his dad to pick him up from school and likes to go for walks with his mom, at least when he's not tied up with one of his favorite pastimes, homework. I'm Neil Karlinski for Nightline in Seattle.